Coach, another trip up. What's your thoughts and feelings, and how good is it for you to be back where you've been several times?
Yeah, excited. Never gets old. You work, all year long, recruiting, donor meetings, fundraising, working through issues with staff and players, and just the day-to-day to have this opportunity, and so I'm so excited. I'm excited personally. It's been 5 years, so I've been looking forward to getting back. But you're always excited to watch someone's face the first time they go, right? It's like your kid Christmas morning, And so the challenge for us is going to be any first-year team or team that hasn't been in a while is combining the enjoyment of getting there and seeing everything that Omaha is, because it's literally a tailgate party on steroids for 10 days. Used to be 2 weeks, now 10 days. But you also have to be able to focus on baseball because you want to win and you want to extend your season. So, we'll do everything we can and use our experience, not just mine, but, Nate's been there, Nolan, Hutch, and then certainly Clunch and Palish and Micah Dallas, which is, that's huge to have some veteran players that can, instead of the coach talking all the time, you have somebody that can speak as a player.
Coach, looking at your past history in Omaha, you're successful in the first game you played there. So how much more emphasis do you put on that one game to make sure you start the week off on the right foot?
Yeah, enormous. Especially in the older format, where if you won the first 2 games, you got like 3 or 4 days off, depending on what side of the bracket you're on. It's significantly different now. But yeah, you have to. I don't think we would do. Our MO has really been, we're going to use the pitchers we need to win the Friday night game of a 3-game series. If you're a team that has 4 legit starters, I've seen a lot of teams bring the number 3 guy in the first game, or try to close it with the second guy, stuff like that. Hopefully we get our program to that point. But right now, we'll probably run Detmer out there. Haven't fully decided, but probably run Detmer out there. And then the 3 lefties are the ones that have really saved our season, to be honest with you. Palish, Menifee, and Will Johnston. So Ballpark's different. Normally plays really, really big, certainly much bigger than this. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays a role in the tournament as well, especially for us.
Y'all done whatever it takes to win along the way, including 5-hour, 9-inning games. Is that just part of the plan, or is that the way it's worked out?
It's definitely not part of the plan.
It's worked for y'all as well, too.
No, it's not part of the plan. I prefer to get the games over as quickly as possible. But yeah, it's just whatever it takes to win. These guys are. What more can you say about them? We sit here, we have these press conferences, we talk after games, and it's always the same thing. We're just we shouldn't be continually amazed. They've been consistent in how resilient they are, their perseverance, their competitiveness. Now the challenge is going to be all of those teams are that. All of those teams are that, because you look at Oklahoma, they should have probably hosted Big 12 tournament champion, maybe the hottest team in the country, just really playing at a super high level of baseball. Texas preseason number 1. Notre Dame just knocked off the number 1 team for most of the season. So any team that makes it this far has all those qualities. They're not just talented; they have character and grit and all those things. So we're going to have to match all that stuff.
You talk about how big Schwab plays. What are you with how the offensive numbers have been across the country this year? Are you a little intrigued to see how the tournament shapes up offensively for a lot of those teams?
Yeah, very. We were up there in a year where there was only like 2 homers, and the ball changed, and I think they maybe moved the fences in just a little bit. There's been a few more home runs. A lot of it's dictated, at Rosenblatt, the south wind blew out, and it was a really small park and big scoring back in those days. And now the south wind blows dead in, and so it can really dictate a lot of what happens in the game. So I think we can play it. That's why I'm excited about how we won this past weekend, with a little bit of pitching and defense and some base running things. So we're going to have to cover more ground in the outfield. That's going to be it's way more ground than what this park is. So, but every team has to deal with that. So, we'll go up there and try to play the best brand of baseball we can.
Y'all brought in a couple of impact transfers, specifically with Dylan. What was it that you saw in him to make you think he would fit, and then could you envision he would have this type of season?
I don't think you can ever envision, even a guy who's as talented and strong and physical as he is, to have that kind of season in this league. No disrespect, coming from a conference that's good, but certainly not this. I think that was the scary part. Is here's a guy who's been a really good player at UTSA. The thing that I was most excited about was when you look at his walks and strikeouts, and I think it seemed like he had a handle of the strike zone, and he had some strength. So I think anytime a guy, swings at strikes and takes balls, that normally doesn't change when you move from level to level. So I thought he had the ability to, especially given where our roster was and the guys we lost, I thought he had the ability to have a big impact for us.
A couple of the guys alluded to it earlier, but how much have you been able to talk to them and tell them about the atmosphere that goes on around the actual games?
We talked about it yesterday. We'll talk more about it today. But you really have to experience it yourself. I told him you kind of have to have two personalities, which you have to do during the season. Like, they have to be a student, and then they have to come here and be an athlete, right? We talk about being a Boy Scout away from the field and a bounty hunter on the field. Kind of the super nice guy that makes all the right decisions away from the field. But when you come here, I need some competitive grit and some fight, and they've done that. And so in Omaha, the challenge is when you have baseball stuff, you got to be a baseball player, and it's so easily to be distracted. And then when you don't have a baseball stuff, like on Saturday, then take the opportunity to go buy the 943 T-shirts you're supposed to buy for everybody back home, and the posters, and see all that stuff. And so there's nothing wrong with doing that. And then you have all the people that are tagging along, all the parents, all the girlfriends, all the grandparents, and so that's the challenge. Is can you stay locked in on baseball and understand we're here to win? And we'll continue to talk about it. I think it's great we're playing the first game, because it gives us, we'll get to take batting practice on the field, whereas if our first game was the night game, we would only get our practice day on Thursday. So we'll get actually 2 opportunities to be on the field before we play a game, and I think that's really big, especially for a new school.
Sign outside, I know they mentioned some letters. What does it mean to you and to these guys to feel that support of guys who've been in their shoes before?
Yeah, it's awesome. Those guys, Mark McGee, I believe has led that up. And when you come to a place like this, you instantly feel that you're part of something way, way bigger than yourself. So whether it be the former players, former students, or the 12th man, knowing that stuff's behind you, and you have just an entire community that's pulling your way is a great feeling.
Since y'all were able to lock up your spot early and kind of just see how those games played out Sunday and Monday, obviously some pretty impressive results that played out. Just what do you hope your players were able to learn just from kind of not only seeing the teams that are going to be there, but just sort of the nature of the tournament, that anything can happen?
I think they already know that, given the way how all the games went here. I think the beauty of playing in this conference, this is my first trip to Omaha as an SEC coach, and pretty much every SEC weekend felt like a super regional, to be honest with you, whether it be because of the crowds or the closeness of how competitive the games are, the level of play. Everything comes down to one pitch on just about every single game. So we're more than prepared for that. We just have to be able to handle the external things, and we'll be fine.
I think it was a year ago that Chancellor Sharp said, now we have a chance to be in Omaha maybe almost every year. Yeah, no pressure. Right? So do you allow yourself to expect maybe just be a little bit amazed that here you are in your first year? Right out of a year's time, here you are headed to Omaha.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure you're amazed. This time last year it was me and Jason Hutchins and Will Fox in the office. Strength coach had a trainer. He left. I had no assistant coaches. Hadn't really signed a transfer yet or anything like that. Didn't know what the current players were going to do, or just trying to meet with them over the phone. There was a few guys here that I met with. So yeah, to say that in 12 months you're sitting here as the highest seed in your bracket in the College World Series. Are you kidding me? That's awesome. Yeah, it's great. And But you want to win too. And I asked the players yesterday. Yes, if your legacy ended today and you were the SEC West champions, you won a Super Regional, you went to College World Series, that's awesome. Like, that's amazing. But what could it be? What could it be? What more do you want to add to it? So I think they want to add everything to it. So we'll just see how we play. It comes down to playing good baseball. And then, of course, up there, like I said, being able to handle all the other stuff. That'll be the challenge.
Outside the actual games, what's your favorite part of College World Series trip to Omaha?
I've never had a bad day there. I can tell you that. 2016, we won the first 2 games. It felt like we were literally going to win a national title that year. Just had to win 1 game. Coastal Carolina had to win 3, and we did. So those were bad days. Those were bad days when you feel like, all right, we're going to win this thing. But other than that, yeah, just getting to see all the fans. I mean, I loved seeing the fans, all the A&M fans that get up there and get to stick their chest out because their team is there. And all the, the opening ceremonies is a lot of fun. And just seeing the joy on the faces of the players, I mean, unless I get hit by a bus, I think I have 7 years on my contract, so I have 7 more opportunities to go do this. Hopefully more. But the players only, get just a couple shots. So I'm really excited for them. All good?
Thanks, Coach.
All right.